cease the fight. Not moved by what I see. I walk by faith and not by sight. All power and authority is given unto me. 'Cause when you're on God's side, nothing can stop us now. Hey, we win, you declare. We proclaim the victory, yeah. Overcome, we win. Nothing can stop us now. We win. We know in God there's no spirit of fear.
Yep, waiting on you, sir. Let's go. Good evening and welcome to the show. In the end, we win with Curtis. I am your host, Curtis Alston, and I will be with you for the next hour. I have a dynamite show for you again tonight. I hope that you all tuned in last week. I think we're going to follow up with the responses that we had from last week. We're going to have another impactful show tonight. But before we get into it and before I introduce my guest, let's hear a word from our sponsor. And actually, we're having a technical difficulty, so I know today is the actual day. This is a little Black History fact. The day that the NAACP was started and founded in 1909. So, in case you guys did not know, February has actually begun and got started. So, well, let's do this. While we take care of that, I have a powerful young lady in the studio with me tonight, LaShawn Watson. LaShawn is going to, I'm going to allow her to tell her own story, but it may be a tearjerker. I know for her, it will be.
Oh, yeah.
But let me introduce to you guys right now, Miss LaShawn Watson. She is a breast cancer survivor, and tonight we are going to be hearing directly from her about her story and the foundations and the community work now that she is doing as a result. So, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Miss Watson. How are you this evening?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Good.
And first I have to give all Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. That's right. And we do that here. That's right.
Yeah, because without him, I would not be me. So
Wonderful.
I'm just very grateful to be here, and I just thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So you're spiritual.
I am spiritual. I love the Lord.
Wonderful. Is that a result of the diagnosis, or was that prior to? Has that always been your walk?
It hasn't always been my walk.
Okay.
I've always loved the Lord. I always went to church on Sundays,
Sure.
but I also got down on Saturday. So yeah, I can party with the best of them.
I know that's right.
So now I'm just learning how to crucify a little of my flesh and work in the will of God. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wonderful. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think we haven't been saved all of our lives,
No,
right? So it's understandable. Well, tonight I want to chit chat with you a little bit about your story. You and I met a few weeks ago. You were passing out some information. You and I had a moment to talk, and I was impressed by what you're doing now, but also about your story. And you see, the show, In the End We Win with Curtis, is really a direct result of the fact that, like everyone else who's watching, we all have stories. But I'm born again Christian as well, and I know that when we are serving the Lord, in the end we win.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that's kind of how the show came about. So the concept is to bring real people with real stories onto the show, because I believe that we will be able to impact our viewers. So what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to hear from you.
Okay. Well, I was diagnosed with breast cancer in December 2014.
2014.
Yeah. And I did it big. I mean, I went for the big thing. I went triple negative breast cancer.
Triple negative. So what exactly does that mean? I actually went to the doctor today, and I wasn't totally sure what triple negative was, and some of the nurses were
So
trying to explain.
in an average breast cancer diagnosis, if there is an average breast cancer diagnosis, you test positive for BRCA1, BRCA2, these different hormones.
Okay.
So with triple negative breast cancer, everything is negative. So chemotherapy may work or it may not work.
Oh, wow.
So that is why the life expectancy for triple negative breast cancer patients is shorter, generally. The prognosis is shorter.
So is this the most severe case
It
then?
is the most severe case of breast cancer. It is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does that mean then in terms of, you mentioned that chemotherapy is not always a
No, it doesn't always
positive
work.
result.
Yeah, it doesn't always work. So because it doesn't have a target, like with a normal breast cancer, it targets directly the cancer. They don't know they don't target the breast. It has no specific treatment target. So it may work or it may not work. And that's the prognosis you get.
Wow.
It may work and it may not.
So 4 years ago, and I don't mean to pry and get too deep into your personal, but what age range was that?
I was 44 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and in African American women, we are being diagnosed at even younger ages than 44 years old, and compared to white women. So white women are getting diagnosed at a later age, and black women are dying at a 42% rate compared to white women.
Why is that?
Because we tend to get the triple negative breast cancer, and there's no targeted cure for that, or no targeted treatment for that at this time.
So, I don't mean to, I know you're not a physician or anything like that, but in your experience, why is it something in our genes that makes us more susceptible to triple negative? What's
concerning about triple negative breast cancer to me is that they know it's geared mainly towards black women. Yet the research that they do is geared for white women. And the reason why is because African American women, or just African American people, do not get involved in case studies. So because we're not getting involved in case studies, they don't know exactly why we're getting triple negative breast cancer. So, but what's even concerning about the being involved in the case studies is that they believe that we have a extra gene. And the extra gene, black women, have an extra gene called the Eve gene.
The Eve gene.
And with the Eve gene, they're so busy trying to discredit the Eve gene when it comes to black women because it produces life, that they're not doing any research on it to try to find out where exactly triple negative breast cancer, if it exists and why it exists. So it puts us in a very bad situation because we still, that means that they're not looking to find a cure for us. So if they find a cure, it would be geared towards the white women because those are the people who are involved in the case studies. Those are the bodies that they're researching and not ours. So the only way to get out here and make a difference is old school way, by sitting down, having conversations with your children and your community and your people about what's going on with breast cancer.
Sure. Wow. So 4 years ago, triple negative was your first diagnosis. It didn't come in stages. That was your original.
That was it. Triple negative. And the strangest thing was is that I had no symptoms. I was in the shower one day and I lifted up my arm and was washing under my arm and I felt a lump. And I was like, what is this? What is this? You know, and I jumped out the shower and I ran downstairs to get a dirty martini.
What?
I sure did.
Wow.
Because I thought I needed something to calm me down and, you know, really make me feel like I wasn't feeling what I was feeling. So I went for the dirty martini. And,
did it work?
Actually, it didn't work. I came back upstairs and it was still there. So the next morning I went to my primary care physician, and in going to my primary care physician, I walked in there and I was like, you know, I'm waiting for anybody to say, hello, I'm Shawn, I got a lump in my breast, you know, just talking to everybody, because I needed to know what this deformity was in my breast. And as I'm talking to my primary care physician, he says to me, you know, it's probably some gland infections, nothing, you know, let me give you this antibiotic and I'll send you on your way. So I said, okay, I'm going to go back to work, and I was just not comfortable. You know, I just was not comfortable.
So let me ask, now you said you felt it under your arm, like...
I had my arm up, washing under my arms, and then it was here.
Okay, so it was on the breast area.
Yeah, it was a hard area.
So when you told him that, he said it was a gland. Wrote it.
And a lot of times when you come off your menstrual, your breasts are lumpy. And so when I went to the gynecologist, that's what she told me. She was like, no, it's not breast cancer at all, you know. And still again, I say God was in it from the beginning because he pushed me to move to another doctor, and I did.
Amen.
And that's when I found out I had triple negative breast cancer. But as I had discussed with you earlier, the difficult part of the diagnosis was when the doctor comes in the room and tell you you have breast cancer. They give you, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, LaShawn, which makes you think you're dead already. You know, so it's like they give you no hope from the beginning with triple negative breast cancer. It's like, oh my God, it's the worst of the worst. You know, you're getting ready to, you know, go through this thing, and it may work and it may not work. And I don't even know what to say to you, but I'm sorry. You know, not fights, not we got all this other stuff we may be able to try. Just, I'm sorry.
So now that you have this relationship with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, let's just say if we were to go back and that doctor came into the room and told you that, how would you respond then? Oh,
you don't know my God. This is nothing. This is nothing. I got this. Right. Thank you, but I got this. I'll take it from here, or God will take it from here.
That's right.
It'll be a whole different, you know, kind of reaction to it. Because then I was like, oh, I'm dead. You know, that's just what I thought. I'm dead.
Wow.
And then you go home and you're looking up everything. Right. And then they say your lifespan is from 3 to 5 years. this. And you're like, what? And here I am approaching my 3rd year. You can imagine the paranoia that I'm going through.
Sure.
Yeah,
Wow.
every ache, every sore, every scar, everything is just like,
You just associated with that
cancer.
word.
Yeah, with cancer.
Mm.
Yeah.
I can only imagine the stress with getting news like that.
It was stressful, but I have been living my life reckless and stressful before breast cancer. So I can say that breast cancer brought me to a different type of healing, and it was a complete healing. Because before breast cancer, it was all about partying. I mean, it really was. The party, the having fun, just, I love the Lord. I went to church every Sunday, but hey, my partying was my thing,
Right.
So, and then I had a tendency to push down stress, like I'm dealing with my bills could be due, I'm taking care of everybody else except me. And so everything I pushed down and kept pushing down. So it had to surface in some way. And that stress will turn your body, your whole body will turn different, makes your whole makeup different.
Sure.
So I really was reckless. And I was even reckless through my treatment.
Really?
Yeah, I was. And I was reckless because I didn't want anybody else to look at me and think that I wasn't normal. So I was so busy trying to be normal, the normal Shawn, the normal partying Shawn, the normal funny Shawn. I was so busy trying not to show everybody else that I was sick and that I was hurting and that I was scared and that I was frightened, that I still did the same things. I went out and I drank, I partied, and I went to, went to church on Sunday.
If you gonna go,
I was sick, I was ill, and that is just the bottom line. The church is not for people who are well. We're for sick people. You go there to get healed and go there to, just kind of.
And shout out your church. Which church do you attend?
First Baptist at Good Nine.
Amen. That's right. Familiar with them. Very, very good over there. Wow. So for the viewers who are looking on, what would you tell them about checks? Because you did. What would symptoms look like though, from breast cancer besides a lump? What would a symptom look like? So you can
have redness around your nipple part. There can be some discoloration. One side of your breast can be larger than the other side of your breast without the lump. One side can be larger. You can have like feverish in there. It can be just look funny. Your nipple can start sinking in. One of them can start sinking in, and one of them can, it's just different. The real solution is to check your breast monthly. I did not do it. I did not do it. In my first mammogram, I had breast cancer.
Oh wow!
First mammogram.
Now, does cancer of any form run in your family?
No.
So it's not genetic?
No, it is not.
Any idea where it came from? How you?
I believe it was my wake-up call. It was God giving me, asking me, giving my attention that you can't go on living like this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's what I accounted to.
So since then, you've made some changes in your life.
I've made some changes, yes I have.
And you created organizations as a result.
I did.
Right, okay. Now that we're going to hold off to, and we're going to talk about that on the other side, on the second half of the show.
Okay.
But I'd like to hear more about how were you living? What was it that you felt really attributed to
stress?
Stress.
It was stress. I took on everything. I didn't ask for help. I waited to the last minute if I did need help to ask for help, and I just kept piling on. It was crap on top of crap. And it's just to a point where it was nowhere else for me to go but to be ill and sick, to sit me down. Because I took on everybody's issues. My family that was in my household. Homework for my son, food, my ex. Just making sure he's straight. Everything. It was just all me. So it was very stressful.
Were you married at the time?
No. I wasn't married at the time. No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was just coming out of the relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did that then? As a matter of fact, before we go any further, we are opening up the show to call, to the viewers. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if there's anything that you'd like to chime in on, please give us a call, 240-719-2560. We will be here speaking directly to Shawn. Actually, Shawn has her mom in the studio with her, and Mom didn't put any lipstick on it, so we're not gonna put her on. We're not gonna put her on the camera. but anyway. So no, and I appreciate you being candid, because that's exactly what I'm sure our viewers can use, because my understanding is that 1 in 8 women are diagnosed in the United States with breast cancer.
Absolutely
of some
right.
form.
That's right. And let me just say that it used to be a white woman's disease, but for the first time in the United States of America, black women are being diagnosed at the same rate as white women. The horrible part about it is that we're dying from it. So although we're being diagnosed at the same rate, we're dying. So what happens to our community when all the black women are dying from breast cancer? Well, no one's out here explaining to them the consequences behind harsh living or stress or just ignoring your body. You have to know your body. I can't express to you how important it is for me, stress. The stress level that we carry as black women is outrageous. We have been conditioned, to me, and these are all my opinions, but to me, we have been conditioned from little children to be strong black women, that we can handle everything.
Sure.
And we take that on to heart, and we carry everything, and we do. We handle everything because we believe that. And the truth of the matter is that we need help. And you have to have a strong partnership or a strong family or a strong community for people to, kind of get together.
Good evening.
Hello?
Hi, good evening. This is Curtis. You're on the show with In the End We Win. We've got LaShawn watching. You have a question?
I do. I don't know if I missed it or not. I just wanted to know if she said that there was an age range that it affected the black women or the black community. Was there age range?
So the average age for breast cancer is usually from 59 and moving up or forward. For black women, we are being diagnosed from 35 years of age further up. So while they say that we should be getting mammograms after the age of 40, you have to really be an advocate for your health and decide, well, look, and you can tell them, I want to get my mammogram this day, this time early because I'm concerned.
Right.
And that's what you have to do. But the age is usually 59 and forward, but not for black women.
Great.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Carl.
Thank you.
Wow. So if you don't know, then you don't know to do it.
No, you don't know.
But what's interesting is, it seems as though the country has adopted breast cancer, or maybe when I think about it, it may just be Susan G. Komen has done a phenomenal job in getting the word out about breast cancer. Because if I'm not mistaken, they created the pink ribbon, and they've established the relationships with all of the sporting events, the professional sports, because there are certain months where you'll see athletes wearing pink shoes and gloves, and you've got the Susan G. Komen run and all of that good stuff. Is it that they're not doing a good enough job? Because it seems like they have saturated the country, is at least where I live. Why is it that we're still, to your understanding, why is it that we're still not, or our ladies still aren't getting it?
Is there a Susan G. Komen mammogram truck that comes to Berry Farms? Does the walk reach Berry Farms? Or does the walk reach neighborhoods that are not, financially not middle class or below middle, do they?
Now you tapping into.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I
I mean,
understand.
do they reach these areas?
I understand
And
exactly where you're going.
because if you in these areas, and let's just say you don't have a computer in your house,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have a flat screen TV to watch and to see Susan G. Komen, you just are unaware.
Right.
So why not go into the neighborhoods and do it old school way and have a conversation?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yes, Susan G. Komen does a great job
Mm-hmm.
of getting the word out. But do they do a great job in the African American community?
I don't have the answer, and that's a subject that's bigger than me. But I understand where you're going because, and unfortunately, it seems like that's just the way our country has continued to work. We are always last when it comes to the important things of life.
We are, but health, we need to be on top of our health.
Mhm.
I mean, we really
That's
do.
nobody's responsibility but our own.
That is our responsibility. That's everybody's responsibility.
Absolutely.
That is everybody's responsibility.
Right.
You need to make a way to people to get to the doctors. You need to make healthcare affordable. For it has to be affordable.
Mhm.
You know that chemotherapy, all your chemotherapy is considered to be a special. When you go to the oncologist and you get your chemotherapy, it's a specialist, so you come out of the pocket more than you would do going to see your primary care physician.
Mhm.
That's terrible because why is that a specialist? Why are you coming out your pocket more to live? This if you don't get this treatment, you will die. And still you consider that a special? No, that is a necessity.
Yeah, that's true.
That is not a specialist issue. That is a necessity.
Man, you're forcing me to jump right into the second half of our show.
No.
But so chemotherapy, was that something that was in your
Chemotherapy was a must for me. I didn't have an option
at that stage?
At that stage, I was stage 2B. I'm sorry, 2B. And so that means I was getting ready to go to stage 3. And so at that point, chemotherapy and aggressive chemotherapy, I'm taking 3 different chemos.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So how did that affect you? Affect your body?
Nothing but for the grace of God, because everything that they told me that I was going to get, I didn't get.
Amen.
The only side effects that I got was I lost my hair and my fingernails were really dark. My fingernails. I didn't get any other side fatigue, of course. I was tired, but all the nausea and throwing up, and I didn't get. And I partied right on through.
Oh, yeah?
I really did.
During the chemo?
During the chemo, I did. And I knew who to be around. I knew the people who was going to allow me to be reckless, and I knew the people who wasn't going to allow me to be reckless.
Let me ask you a question. Did you have a death wish, or was there any? And I know it may sound bad, but where were you mentally to think that here I am with triple negative cancer, but yet I'm still going to go out to party? And in my estimation, what I'm thinking is that perhaps at some point you may have said, "Well, I'm gonna die anyway." Did that ever cross you? Actually, I'm sorry. Let me take this. Good evening. You're on the show with In the End We Win with Curtis. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Wonderful.
I just had a question about Ms. LaShawn said something about earlier the doing trials and for the medicine.
You mind turning down your however you're listening to us?
Yeah. Can you hear me? I'm
Yes,
sorry.
yes, ma'am.
For doing the trials for for African Americans.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work? How would you get into a trial for trying to figure out the types of medicines that will work on African Americans?
So to get into the trials, GW, George Washington Hospital, has a genetic unit, and they test your genes for a mutation gene. After they test your gene for a mutation gene, they will, if you test positive for the mutation gene, they send you a list of, different studies that's going on. So you can sign up, and they will call you, contact you, and you will be a part of the study. But we're not doing that, and I believe it's historically. It's because historically we have been screwed when they have tried to do case studies for us.
Oh, well.
I mean, if you look at the syphilis and the Tuskegee, all of that, we have been screwed so we don't get involved in them.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
You're
caller.
welcome.
So going back, and I think we're going to forego a break. Are you okay?
Oh, yeah.
You're okay with
Yeah,
that?
I'm fine.
Okay. Wonderful. So, going back to prior to the caller,
Mm-hmm.
was there ever a moment when you thought that, well, I'm gonna die anyway, so let me just continue to get my party on, let me continue to do my thing and
No, that
see
wasn't.
what happens?
I don't think, no, death, listen, I don't like death.
And I don't mean to
Right, no.
put that out
So,
there.
no, I don't like to talk about it. I don't even like to think about it. So, no, that wasn't my thing. My thing is that I did not want anybody to see me ill. I did not want to admit to myself that I was ill.
Oh, wow.
So I was not accepting of my journey at that point. I wasn't trying to say the word cancer. I was trying to be Shawn. And the only way I knew how to be Shawn was to keep putting on that silly smile and faking it until I made it. You know what I mean? And not thinking about the fact that, hey, I gotta go to chemo on Tuesday, and I gotta have this treatment pumped into my body that feels like gasoline, And so you don't think about those things when you're being destructive. You just think about, I don't want people to know. And if you see me at my weakest point, I don't with black women, we don't let you see us sweat. We just don't. And it goes back to to the proud, strong black woman thing. You just don't do it.
Wow. Is it worth it?
Was it worth it?
Was it worth it? Good point.
It was. It was.
To
because
risk your life because you didn't want people to know what you were going through?
You know why it was worth it? Because
Why is that?
today, I'm a different person.
Amen.
If I had not gone through the partying, the chemo, the cancer, I couldn't come to the real healing of LaShawn. I had to look in the mirror, not reflect backwards, but I had to reflect on today, what I was seeing in the mirror.
Sure.
And what I saw in the mirror was LaShawn being reckless, and I had to change.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Have you found your healing?
I struggle still.
With what aspect? Is that too personal?
No, I mean, not with drinking or, the smoking or.
Oh, you were smoking too? What you were smoking?
My mama said.
I already know. But
no.
wow. So it was like that.
It was like that. And
Okay.
And actually, I thought I was healed. Like, I am doing this. I got my bald head and my big earrings and my lipstick, and I look good. I thought I was doing it. I mean, really did thought I was helping other people, encouraging other people. You can make it. You ain't gotta look sick. You can look like this. And I thought I was doing it. And then when I got the big chop of both of my breasts removed, I kind of realized that I wasn't doing it.
Wow. So that's when reality really set in.
That's when reality set in, and nobody tells you how to go through that.
Wow.
Nobody tells you how to.
So you mentioned that your mom was here. How was your support system at home? And then you mentioned that you have a son as well. So how did you manage those relationships? And then how did those relationships manage you?
So I can say it was awesome. I mean, I had an awesome support system.
Good. That's important.
Yes. My mom was pissed. I mean, she was very supportive, always there, but I could tell that she was dealing with her own anger about breast cancer. And I didn't know how to reach her to say it's okay, because guess what? I wasn't okay. And as your mother and your parent, she knows when you're not okay. And so I think it was just difficult for her to deal with while I was going through it. My son came home. He was living in Philly. So he came home to be with me, but I didn't allow him to. So when I would come home from chemo, I would cook dinner and clean up and pretend that everything was okay. And, you know, because I didn't want him to be worried. I didn't want him to be stressed. So I was doing the same things that I was doing before. You know, just building and piling in stress and not dealing. And not dealing with what was on the table. You couldn't get me to say I had cancer.
Wow.
You couldn't.
Right.
But today, I'm grateful, so grateful that I can say, yeah, I had cancer.
So grateful that she actually had some visuals. Can we show the one where you walked from
Alabama Avenue to the Capitol.
Can I hold this up?
Yep.
So here is a picture of Shawn. Now, mind you, this is fairly recently that she went through this, as she mentioned, like 2014, when she got her diagnosis. So this was done when?
That was done July 2015.
2015.
I had my surgery to have both breasts removed in August.
Okay, and we have a caller on the line.
They hung up.
They hung up. Okay, so explain exactly what this picture represents for our viewers, please.
So for me, it was the first time that I was seen to me.
That you were seen?
Yes, I became unhidden that day. Like I took off everything that I had that was covering me up, because on a daily basis I'm trying to cover up.
Sure.
I don't want people to know that I don't have breasts. So I'm still healing. So either I'm wearing a jacket or a vest or a shirt that's baggy, so you don't know or you can't tell, And so that day I was just like, enough. And I'm going to take this shirt off. Wonderful. And I'm going to be free. I'm going to be free. Didn't care what it looked like that day.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Good evening. Sounds like we have another caller. You're on with, in the end, we win with Curtis.
Oh, yes, hi. I wanted to know, are there any support groups for people who may not have a support system?
Great question.
There are support groups out there. You can Google any support group that you want. I don't want to give you any specific names or, because I can't really. I know I can keep saying GW because that's the hospital that I go to, but I know they do have support groups. The problem for me with support groups was they weren't familiar. Most support groups are white people, and they weren't African American, and so I didn't feel comfortable because I did go to one. And I didn't feel comfortable, and I didn't feel like they understood, and it just didn't work for me. But there are support groups out there, and I think that if everybody should go and experience and talk about, see if they like it, if it helps you. But it didn't help me.
So, caller, that's a great question, and if you don't mind, unless you have another question, because I think we have a few other callers that's calling in, but we're going to talk right now about an organization that you created.
Yes. Okay. I've created the Whisper Group, and the Whisper Group is about about us getting together in the community and healing from a family perspective. So breast cancer doesn't only affect the person that's going through breast cancer, it affects your children, it affects the son, it affects the mom. And so the Whisper Group is an organization that will bring the family together in healing. So we'll have classes for the children, we'll have classes for the parents, and they'll all take place at the same time. And that way everybody is getting what they need to, to heal, come to complete healing. Because it does take everybody in the household to understand what the one person is going through. And another thing about I have to say this about co-survivors, you have to be careful about being codependent. Because you get caught up in doing everything for the survivor, and it doesn't help. You know, you have to be a co-survivor, and you're not feeling well. I know, lay down. Let me. I know you can lay down for a little while, but today you need to get up and get dressed and put some clothes on, because as a codependent and doing everything, you're setting the person up for failure and depression, because they for failure and depression.
That's big. Did you experience that?
I did at one point, because I felt like my sister would never tell me no. So when I was going through chemo, I could probably get anything from anybody that I wanted to.
Right.
You know, I mean, really, I'm the baby, and you know, anything I want to, and no one would tell me no. And
that's not good.
That was not good.
Mm-hmm.
That was not good, because because I was hey, I need to go to the grocery store. I need somebody to come over here and buy me some. You know, whatever. It got to a point where when I was all by myself after the treatment. And after everything was over, I was like, and what am I supposed to be doing? And I'm sitting in the house, and now I'm depressed because I can't do anything, because I never learned how to do it myself when I was going through the illness. Everybody else was doing it.
And that's a testament to you, I take it, because you're not one to milk your situation and take advantage of that opportunity to get whatever you wanted from everyone.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say all of that.
Okay.
I would. Okay. I mean, I just wouldn't. I'm just keeping it real.
Please do.
I'm not. I wouldn't say all of that, because I did milk it sometimes, and you know, it's just as a human being, you know.
I get that.
You milk. Some days you just feel like I don't feel like it, and I want somebody else to do it, and then you.
How about your work situation? I don't know where you work, but were you employed by the same employers that you're with today?
Yes.
You are. So how did that? It was difficult.
It was difficult because they could not get used to LaShawn being sick, you know. So or slow down. They didn't want to slow down. They weren't accommodating to my new needs of a slower pace, you know, and I did need a slower pace. Especially when I was coming back from work, they didn't have any understanding of that. In the beginning, I fought hard to make my place, and I've been working at that place for a long time, and I wasn't going to give up on myself and into the side effects of chemo of, you know, not being able to remember things or, you know, stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wow. So it's obvious, I know, but I don't know, maybe someone is curious. It just sounds like every area of your life is truly affected.
Yes, every area. Your body, it affects everything. The treatment alone affects everything. Your memory, your long-term memory, your kidneys, your heart, your liver, all your major organs, you know, because they have to literally wipe out your cells. And, you know, that's what chemo does. It wipes out all your cells and you have to rebuild.
So talk about that, because my understanding of chemo is that ultimately it's a poison,
It
right?
absolutely is. And it kills every cell in your body.
Wow.
But that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to kill every cell in your body so that your body, you replenish cells. Right. So that when they grow back, they're healthy cells.
Okay.
So they kind of wipe out every cell in your body, and then they kind of let it grow back, you know, come back.
Okay. Now, I don't personally have a history of dealing with anyone or knowing anyone, especially not in my family that I'm close to, that has experienced breast cancer. But what I've heard over time is that people are more afraid of the chemo treatments than the actual disease itself. Are you familiar with that? Because of the poison and the fact that they lose their hair and it affects other organs and things like that, I think a lot of people are afraid to go that route for therapy because of just what the side effects would be of chemo. Did you have that?
Yeah, I was fearful of chemo. Yeah, but I had no choice. I was going to live.
Right.
So if chemo was the one of the well, I know God is the route that why I'm living.
Sure.
But if chemo was another route that I had to take, then I had
You
to
just had
do
to
it.
do it.
You just have to do it. You have to man. It's terrible. It is a terrible disease. A terrible disease. There is no part of this journey that is easy. Not from the beginning, not to the end, not to where I am now. I struggle today.
What really?
I struggle today because my disease is visual. I have no breast. It's visual. It's not something that I can hide. You know, I can put on how many coats and jackets to cover up that I want to, but at the end of the day, it gets hot and you take it off. You know, in the summertime you take it off and you can't cover it up. And see, one of my problems were to get back to healing was that I had to accept the fact that this is who you are now. You know, I had to learn how to embrace this is who you are now. And
Right.
if this is who you are, you're going to have to learn how to love Shawn all over again in her space, in her way, just like you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I even I was speaking to you guys earlier, and I was saying that I'm celibate. I practice celibacy, but I often wonder, am I practicing it because I'm afraid to take my clothes off in front of somebody?
Wow.
So it's like I love the Lord, and I know that I am waiting for my husband, and I don't want to give my body to just anybody. But at the end of the day, there's still that underlying hurt that I feel like.
Sure.
Am I doing this for that purpose, for God, or am I doing it because I'm afraid to be
Wow.
accepted, or for somebody to see me?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I mean, it is a journey. It is a journey.
And it sounds like you're still tussling with it.
Oh, of course.
Wow.
It's a lifetime journey because you never get comfortable with. I have to go to the doctors every 3 months.
Okay.
So I walk into that same doctor office that I took treatment in. I see the hopeless looks on people's faces. You see that and you go in there with a smile and
That's
you
right.
man up and you're trying to let them see that you're healing. But at the end of the day, it still bothers you because you can be right back there.
Right.
There is no cure for cancer. There is remission.
Right.
So at any point in time, I struggle sometimes with the fear that it may reoccur. I'm human.
Right. Good evening, caller. You're on the line.
Yes, hi there. I had an aunt who passed because she passed from breast cancer. This was, years ago. And I think at that time, the saying was, if your mother passed from breast cancer, then the daughter more than likely will get cancer as well. Is that correct?
So there is a higher percentage rate that the daughter may get cancer, which is why they ask that you test earlier. You go get your mammograms earlier so they can catch it earlier. That is not necessarily true. It's not. The thing about black women is that they don't know why we're getting breast cancer at these high rates. So to me, the best thing to do is, if I'm concerned, if my aunt had it and my sister had it, or my long distance cousin had it, go get checked out because it's not necessarily hereditary.
Right.
Yeah. So I would not go by old school sayings. I would go by, I'm getting out here because I'm advocating for myself,
Right.
because nobody else is going to do it, and do what you're, just do it. Just
Right,
go out
I
there and
got
do
you.
it.
Yeah. What about your family? Does your mother have it?
No.
And I understand you have some sisters, or you have a sister.
Yes.
Are they getting their mammograms? Are they doing their self-breast test?
Yes.
Are they feared? Do they fear they may have it, or get it?
Absolutely. Both my mom and my sister both get their mammograms regularly now. Of course, it was fearful for my sister and my mom, but they have been cleared so far, and it's just important to keep going. Don't ever stop. If you feel something is wrong with your body, then you keep moving and keep pushing forward to get to the end of it. Because like I said, I was diagnosed, 2 doctors told me no, and the third one finally said yes. Not that was a big celebration, but I got to the bottom of it.
Right. Well, I commend you, sweetheart.
Oh, thank you so much.
And you keep the good work up.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Carl.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, so what are you doing now? We've got about 10 or so minutes left. Talk some more about what you're doing now to help others who are battling this disease.
Basically, Curtis, what I am doing is going out into...
You hot tonight. Good evening. You're on with LaShawn Watson and Curtis. How are you?
I just wanted to say to the young lady that I appreciate her. She's beautiful. I thank her for her transparency.
Thank you.
And she doesn't know how many people needed to hear that today.
That's right.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Carl. So what exactly are you doing now to help others?
I'm just talking.
Good. I'm glad I
That's
had you
what
on the
I'm
show, and it's calls like that
Yes, that makes a difference.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's right.
yes,
That's right.
absolutely. I'm talking. I'm going into the communities. I'm bringing attention to that. Breast cancer exists among Black African American women, and we're dying from it.
Sure.
What can we do? We can be, advocates for ourselves. We have to do it old school way because nobody else is doing it for us.
Mm-hmm.
Not even the Susie J. Coleman.
That's right.
They're
Right.
not doing it for Avon is not doing it for us. We have to do it ourselves. And so for me, I'm a foot soldier. I'm
Amen.
going out there on my feet, and I'm on my feet, and I'm letting you know what you can do, what you can't do, and just trying to promote healthy breast care.
And I'd like for you to give your contact information first and foremost. But what I am very excited about is your passion, but not only your passion, but also the fact that you are candid and you are giving real information. You're telling everyone what really happened. It doesn't sound like you are holding anything back, and I think that's where people get misled also, right?
Absolutely.
Because they're not given because the doctors are only going to give you what the results say. They don't tell you
Absolutely.
how you can live longer, or they don't give you the other way of living through this thing without going through chemo,
No.
putting poison in your body.
No, they don't even allow you to. They tell you to breathe through the tears and breathe through. Go for a walk, And sometimes that's just not satisfying enough. Sometimes you just need to scream. Sometimes you need to say why. And it's okay. And those are the things that I didn't deal with from the beginning that I had to deal with afterwards. When I got the big chop,
The big chop.
Yes, the big chop. When I got the big chop, I had to deal with it. I had to scream. I had to look in the mirror and be like, "Oh God!" But then I can't come back to my reality of who am I to tell God how to save my life or what it's supposed to look like when He saves me. And so it puts me back into perspective of who I am. I'm flesh. I'm a human being. I am going to feel. I am going to have sad days. I am going to have happy days. I'm going to have my moments, But at the end of the day, who am I?
Wow. That's awesome. So give out your contact information and any emails, websites, or anything that people may be able to reach you by, Shawn.
So because I'm a new organization, my contact information is www.thewhispergroup.com. The webpage is still under construction, but you can always reach me at 202-560-4375, and I will get back with you.
Now, what is this about TikTok?
So TikTok is
That's fun.
yeah, but it's an open dialogue with just like I'm talking to you guys about breast cancer. I want the husbands to come in and be able to talk to other men who have gone through breast cancer, and they share their journeys and they come together in solutions, you know, amongst themselves, you know, because there's nothing like talking to somebody who's been through it, you know,
Sure.
like
Right.
there's nothing
Exactly.
like it.
Right.
So it's not just about the husband, it's about the children too, because we celebrate the children who all of a sudden became independent. Because with breast cancer, the mother, usually it's the mother, even though men can't get breast cancer, you are now, most of the time, the kids are now dependent on their next door neighbors, their aunties, their uncles to take them around to school or extracurricular activities. No one addresses the disease with them and how it affects them. And so that's what TikTok is about, the family unit to healing,
Right.
not just one person.
Wow. So that's your support group.
That's my support group.
Okay, so let me ask you this. From this picture, were you out there by yourself?
No, there were
Okay.
other women and 2 white women.
Okay. How did you organize that, or did you
No,
organize?
I did not. Another foundation had organized that.
Okay.
Uh,
And you just said.
I just went.
And where'd you guys walk to and from?
We walked from Alabama Avenue to the Capitol, shirtless
Shirtless.
and breastless.
Wow. Breastless and shirtless.
Yep.
From Alabama Avenue southeast to the Capitol
to the
in
Capitol
Northwest.
In Northwest,
Wow.
absolutely.
What day?
It was like, I think it was July the 15th, around that time.
Was that during the week? Rush
No,
hour
it was
and all
Saturday.
that? Oh, it was on a Saturday.
Mhm.
So what was the response? What were people
Looking
tooting their
away.
horns, looking away?
People were looking away. They would look away. Because, you know, when you walk through Eastern Market, you know, you walking past Eastern Market.
Yeah.
And so,
Okay. Y'all came up Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we came up Pennsylvania Avenue. So it was a lot of looking away, you know, like, oh my God, what is going on? You know, it was mostly looking away. A couple of people honked their horns, you know, but it wasn't for them. It was for us. We wanted to be seen. We exist. And we're out here, you know, and that was the whole bottom line. I mean, the whole picture, the whole objective.
Sure.
Was we're here. Can we do something about this?
Right. Wow.
Can we, really? This is what it looks like. It's not pretty. You know, that pink ribbon is great. I appreciate the support. But that pink ribbon would look much better with some faces on it.
So, what, in your experience now, what do you suggest? As far as finding a cure, as far as perhaps what the doctors should be telling patients, what we should be telling the government, what do you suggest?
We should be talking about it, and not just talk about it. Let me just say this: the movies. Okay, when I'm looking at a movie and the way they show cancer victim, you know, breast cancer, they're sad, they're all down and out, they're all white. Can we give cancer another face? Can we give them a black women face? Can we show that they're not the only ones affected by breast cancer?
Sure.
How about that?
Right.
How about we advocate for us for change?
But that's leaving it up to Hollywood, and we don't want to do that, right? Because Hollywood's never going to represent us.
No, and that's
We
why
gotta tell our own
and
story,
that's
like
why
you-
we
like you've
gather
been
our
saying.
foot soldiers and we go into our communities and we talk to people.
So have you partnered up, attempted to reach out to any larger organizations to let them know what you're doing to hopefully get some financial support?
I have.
And how is that going?
It's going. You know,
Okay.
it's
And
going.
you're early at this thing,
I'm
right?
early at
Okay,
this thing.
okay.
I'm early at this thing. So I'm not discouraged at all. I'm going
Good.
to keep moving. You
Amen.
know,
Right.
with or without money, I will make a sound. You
Sure.
know,
Wonderful.
we produce noise. So it doesn't. It's not about money for me. It's about helping my community be more educated on this disease and knowing that it's out there and it can be a silent killer
Right.
Because there's no symptoms. There's no symptoms, and the education is not reaching us.
Wow. Whew. So, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
That is powerful, and I appreciate you. Unfortunately, we are at the end of our show. It was powerful enough. I think tonight was the first night that we had 4, maybe 5 callers in, and that lets me know that this topic is needed, and people are out there truly in need of information. So that being said, I'd love to have you on again.
I would love to be on again.
Yeah, as you continue in your efforts to build your organization, you grow in your, experience now, being on this side. And aside from all of that, I am godly proud that you have decided to live.
Oh my God.
And I don't know you necessarily, right? But it's easy to quit and to give up, But the reward and the name of the show is In the End We Win with Curtis. And it's not necessarily about me, however, it's just because of my faith and who I believe in, that when we are living by principle, we don't have any fear, right? Because in the end, we can win. We will win. So
absolutely.
I'm excited for what you're doing.
Thank you. Can I get some shout outs?
Shout outs? For real? Absolutely. Absolutely.
I want to
wind it down.
I want to give shout outs to my sponsor, Mac and Mac.
Mac and Mac.
Yes, and Axiom Realty, and Detox. Oh shoot. Detox Out Loud, and For Us, For You, For Us.
Okay.
Yes.
And then give your contact information one more time for anybody.
202-560-4375. Please call me at any time, any questions. If you need me to come out to your community, you have concern, I am there. I am there. So just reach out, and I will definitely come to you. You don't even have to come to me. I'll come to you.
Wonderful. So, thanks for tuning in. This has been another, I believe, impactful show. And I appreciate you all for calling in. I think that it's important that we support ladies just like, or individuals just like LaShawn, who are bold enough to come on camera and talk about their situations, their stories, right, candidly. And I appreciate you guys for calling in, those of you that did. But even just those of you that tuned in, I pray that you received something on tonight. So that's going to wrap it up for us. We'll be right back here next week at 8:15. And I look forward to seeing you then. Have an awesome week. And I will see you in a week. Good night.
Good night.
That's why I didn't want you to